This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
If you're a seeker, don't miss the inspiring book Shamanic Awakening, Between the Dark and the Daylight. This remarkable work chronicles shamanic counselor and indigenously trained dream decoder Sandra Cochran's 35 years of experience with diverse wisdom keepers throughout the Americas. Sandy's initiations across the British Isles, Turkey, Greece, and Egypt, combined with her knowledge of symbology, psychology, and myth, influence her dream blog and workshops. Sandy offers private readings, sacred international journeys, a meditative CD, and her book, Shamanic Awakening, to encourage you as you navigate your earth walk and create a deeper connection to yourself. Find this and more at her website, starwalkervisions.com.
The X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X-Zone Radio Show or endorsed in any manner by Rob McConnell, Relmar McConnell Media Company, the X-Zone Broadcast Network, its affiliated networks, stations, employees, or advertisers.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And welcome to the X-Zone, everyone. I am Rob McConnell. We're coming to you from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, on the X-Zone Broadcast Network. If you'd like to check us out on any of the social media sites, X-Zone Radio TV, our email address is xzone@xzoneradio.tv, and our X-Zone Radio website, www.xzoneradiotv.com. And if you'd like to find out all the great programming that is available to you, 7/24/365 on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, just go to www.xzbn.net. This hour, my guest is Donald Mazzella. We've had the pleasure of having Donald on the show before. He is a political and lifestyle expert who has been seen on MSNBC, Bloomberg, and WSJ. He is the COO of Information Strategies, a company that helps business managers improve profits. He currently oversees a print and internet publication network centered around Small Business Digest, with more than 3.2 million opt-in small business readers and healthcare industry stakeholders. As a reporter, he covered national and international events. He has held senior level positions at McGraw-Hill, Thomson, and Essence Communications. Donald holds a BA, MA, and MBA degrees from NYU, and has taught at that university as well as others. He authored several books, including his newest, An American Family Sampler, which is making plenty of waves throughout the publication sector. And we're going to be talking to Donald this hour, amongst other things, human microchipping. And in a stumbling development, a bill is now being discussed to prohibit forced microchipping of people, as it continues to happen in places all over the world. Senate Bill 109 would make it a Class C felony to require someone to be implanted with a radio frequency identifier, such as microchips placed in pets. The idea for the bill came from a constituent, the Las Vegas Republican said. She said sales of radio frequency identifiers are escalating around the world, and a company in Australia as of June 2016 sold more than 10,000 implantable chips to people in a do-it-yourself kit format. As the idea of human microchipping is becoming a valid option, what are the details that come along with such a rash procedure? Is America on board with such a procedure? And first of all, Donald, welcome back. Great having you back with us. And what is your take on human microchipping?
Well, I think it's another step towards father government. It's something we really have to worry about. More, it's funny. 20 years ago, we would not even be discussing something like this. Yet now it's becoming more and more prevalent. First, let me clear up something. A lot of those involve elderly patients, where children have worried about them wandering away, have implanted them to help them find it, and and with a lot of things, it starts with a good Samaritan idea, which is to protect them from wandering away, and then other things can happen. It is something we really should be worried about. I'm not a fanatic about government spying, but with this recent events with Flynn, with President Trump, where the FBI is monitoring, and we don't know how many people in Trump's entourage are being monitored for various things. But it's something we should start worrying about more and more. When I first read about it, I said, my God, is this true? And when I went around and looked, I found that we have something like 100,000 of these microchips implanted in people in the United States, if my sources are correct.
Wow. Donald, you and I have to take a break. Please stand by. Exonation Donald Mazzella is our very special guest this hour. www.is-incorp.com or www.smallbusinessdigestmag.com. This is the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell, and you're listening to us around the world on the X Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net, and our growing family of satellite and radio stations. Don't go away.
This is the X Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
How would you like to be able to read other people's minds? Well, the next best thing is here. When you know how to read a person's name, you know how the person thinks, feels, and behaves. Each letter in our name holds a key to unlock our true essence. Our name contains both our gifts and challenges in this lifetime. Mnemology science discovers personality secrets hidden in the placement of the letters of our names, including the first and last impression people remember about us. Sharon shows us how to interpret the arrangement of letters as outlined in her book, Know the Name, Know the Person. Sharon Lynn Wyeth created mnemology science after 18 years of research and testing her theories, and has supported thousands of people around the world in understanding themselves and others better. You'll enjoy Sharon's unique teachings as she shares her system to learn the gifts behind your given birth name. Even if you don't like your birth name, there are jewels in this book. If you're thinking of changing your name, ready to name your child, or wanting to get along better with others, this is the book for you. If you'd like to improve your relationships and change your life for the better, get the book today, Know the Name, Know the Person, or visit www.knowthename.com. That's www.knowthename.com.
Take a step back in time and discover old Florida cuisine at Marsh Landing Restaurant in Fellsmere, Florida. Enjoy delicacies such as frog legs, gator tail, catfish, and swamp cabbage, or enjoy the more traditional cuisine such as hand-cut Angus steaks, ribs, and seafood. Join us for breakfast with a southern flair featuring sweet potato pancakes, biscuits and gravy, and much more. Planning a party? Marsh Landing's private dining rooms can accommodate groups from 8 to 80 people. While you visit, enjoy the historic pictures, artifacts, and stories that line the walls. Marsh Landing is truly a unique experience. Marsh Landing Restaurant, 44 North Broadway in historic downtown Fellsmere, or visit marshlandingrestaurant.com. Marsh Landing, old Florida cuisine at its best.
www.xzbn.net is the website for the X Zone Broadcast Network. And if you'd like to find out more about my guest this hour, Don Mazzella, his websites are is-incorp.com and www.smallbusinessdigestmag.com. Don, what was it that brought the microchipping to your attention?
Actually, it was an article, a small article I saw in a newspaper, and then the people that represent me through the stations like yours brought it up, and I said, let's do it. And when we started to do the research, it really started to frighten me a little bit, because it is, I hate to use the liberal expression, a slippery slope, but what if we all had a chip in our bodies, and the government could know where all of us are? It's really a frightening thought if you think about it, and it's something that 20 years ago we would not imagine, but 20 years from now we might see as a reality, and I frankly was very worried about it.
But can't we say we are already under the eyes of Big Brother because of the not just microchipping possibilities, but the RFID that we have on most of our credit cards? Every time we use anything with a magnetic strip, anytime we use a credit card, anytime we use our passports, anytime the police pull you over and run you through NCIC or CPIC. Is the microchip just an extension of what is already out there?
Oh, absolutely. I was struck. I don't know how many English programs, television programs, but I'm struck by how many crime stories now out of England depend on CCTV cameras to track criminals. It's amazing what's happening. I'm told in England it's very difficult to find any place where you're not under one camera or another, and that's getting increasingly that way in the United States as well.
You know, my wife and I just returned 2 weeks ago from a conference in Florida. And going through the airports, you can see an increase in cameras. And one of our good friends is a police detective. And he said that at most of the international airports and border crossing points now, biometrics is the big thing.
Very definitely, if you look at that. But again, right now, it's an imperfect science. 20 years from now, I think you're going to see a lot more. I'm told by some of the things they can do today are truly amazing, including picking up plastic surgery, altering of faces. It's because they're really going down to basic structure now,
right?
rather than the skin itself. So I'm afraid our days of being anonymous are very are numbered.
But would it not be true to say, Donald, that if you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear?
That's very true, but I'll tell you, it was interesting. I sit on a medical marijuana board here in a non-profit here in New Jersey,
right?
And I had to go through an extensive state trooper investigation before I could join the board. We have the most stringent of any in the states, and they found out things about me that I never knew. I had never known, nor did my lawyer, nor did my accountant. And it was just amazing what they turned up about me. And thank God there was, it was all good, relatively good, but it was just surprising what they could find. So you're right. Our days of being anonymous are gone.
Exonation, Donald Mazzella is our special guest, www.is-incorp.com and smallbusinessdigestmag.com. We've got pets. Our pets are chipped for the reason that if they do take off, we'll be able to locate them, hopefully. But the chipping of people who are in high risk or at the high risk of being kidnapped or otherwise being targeted by the criminal elements, do you see a pro as well as the con when it comes to microchipping?
Oh, definitely. I'm told, doing a little research on here, that and again, it's a confidential number, but a number, whether the number is 100 or 1,000 or 2,000, I can't tell you, but a number of vulnerable individuals have had the chips installed for just that reason. I was going to bring that up, but you're right, because in the hopes that they could be rescued by being pinpointed.
Another thing I know, that there are certain what are considered to be high-class clubs in the United States that have their best patrons implanted with a chip so they don't have to carry any currency into the establishment, that all they need to do is wave their hand or the part of the body where the chip is implanted for payment as well as identification.
Oh, that's a new one on me, but I wouldn't be surprised. But I can't address that one because that's really interesting. Wouldn't surprise me.
You've been in the media a number of years. You've been in the communications industry a number of years. How do you think chip technology is going to affect the communication arena as well as the media arena in the future?
Good question. If you're talking about implanted chips, I don't know. I would like to answer the question, but I'm going to admit ignorance because I hadn't thought about that. Communication is so ubiquitous now. We carry around. We have enough power in our iPhones. We have more power than we had when we sent people to the moon.
Yep.
All I can see is more miniaturization, more ability. You can't go any place or do anything, as policemen around the world have said, without somebody whipping out a phone and taping you and then sending it out to the nearest rebroadcasting facility. So a chip is, I guess, the next step towards it. We're seeing a revolution, not only in terms of communication, but in terms of mores and how we act, that frankly has bedeviled me. I'll give you an example. I always use, I'm in the business over 50 years, but when I was covering in Vietnam, I used to have to beg light colonels of communication to use their facilities to call home. I was an Italian son of an Italian mother who said that he would call her every day. If you know what that took to do it. But anyway, today we can now broadcast battles directly from the field to the homes. The world has changed so radically, and it's going to change some more. I'm seeing more and more data. I'm sure you've seen three young people walking down the street, texting each other, even though they're standing or walking right next to each other. I'm amazed at that. I'm amazed at everything that is changing. But at the same time, we seem to be breaking down our barriers of direct communication. And putting up all of these other ones. I always use an example. Donald Trump has figured out how to break through the communication logjam that is in the national media. He's now got 20 or 30 million followers on Twitter and Facebook, etc. And he's talking directly to them. I use as an example, Franklin Delano Roosevelt was the first president to speak directly to the American people via radio. And during the banking crisis, he said to the American people, "I give you my word, the banks are sound." And everybody believed him. And now we have a president talking to 30 or 40 million people directly via that. We are breaking down all of our regular, our known ways of communication, and we're seeing a much different world.
What about the president's comments about fake news? As a seasoned reporter yourself with impeccable credentials and you're very well respected throughout the industry, Don, how do you take this when the President of the United States is basically saying, hey, the media is nothing else but, spinning all these tales and it's nothing else but fake news?
Unfortunately, he's right. And make no mistake, the media recognizes it as well. There was just a conference yesterday here in New York on that very subject, and some of the top people in the media admitted if something comes across the Facebook or someplace or tweeted, etc., and within 10 minutes it's tweeted around the world.
Yeah.
In news we were always taught, when in doubt, leave it out. When in doubt, don't go with it. I mean, I always use as an example, Dan Rather took a chance and said President Kennedy was dead, and he made a reputation and made a lifetime. But the people, I happen to be involved in that, the other people, we were all waiting to get the official word, which is what we were taught to do. Dan Rather did. What we're seeing today is unfettered news. We're seeing things going out there that are simply unchallenged, unasked, and the result is we have what Donald Trump calls fake news, unsubstantiated news, and in some cases the wrong news.
Yeah.
It's something. It's going to take time, but we'll eventually figure a way to filter this stuff as we've done everything else. We've learned to adapt that. But I think it's a shame. I think it's ironic. When he complained about it, people complained about complaining. But the answer is he's right. We have the incident of the New York Times reporter calling the First Lady a prostitute.
Yeah.
I mean, it went viral. And had absolutely no basis in fact.
Don, stand by, my friend. You and I have to take our break. Exo Nation, Veteran newsman and political commentator Donald Mazzella is our special guest this hour. When we come back, we're going to talk to Donald about the current political arena and what's going on in Washington today. This is the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell. We'll be back on the other side of this break with the news. Don't go away.
This is the X Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
While science pursues fact, magic accesses the quantum level, bridging random facts to form truth. As long as science and magic remain separate and polarized, the truth cannot be known. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka. Join me on the Science of Magic radio program, dedicated to unification and evolution of consciousness. During each episode, I'll be speaking with experienced and respected scientists and mystics. From astrologers to astronomers, from medical doctors to shaman, the scientific method to dowsing and intuition, we'll weave together information from seemingly divergent practices to promote unity and enlightenment. Join me, Gwilda Wiyaka, and the Science of Magic right here on the Mutual Broadcast Network. For more information, visit www.thescienceofmagic.net.
Gibbs A. Williams, Ph.D., is a practicing psychoanalyst, supervisor, researcher, and author in New York City. Much of his life has been dedicated to understanding nature and the uses of meaningful coincidences or synchronicities. His radical and original non-Jungian, non-mystical, non-magical theory of synchronicities illuminates much of the fog surrounding this challenging and perplexing topic. His ideas and manners are fresh, presented in a style that is both entertaining and highly informative. He is also an expert on crisis intervention, specially focused on violence reduction for the police and citizens, mastering anxiety, frustration, and stress without the use of medication, and effectively preventing and treating heroin addiction. Dr. Williams can be contacted at his email address at gwwilliamsny11@aol.com or visit his website at
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X Zone radio show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X Zone broadcast network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
True healing must address 4 levels: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, for us to live joyful and productive lives. We tend to treat 3 of the 4, leaving the spiritual languishing. If you're tired of the same dysfunctional patterns cropping up in your life, Soul Balancing is for you. Trixie Phelps, owner and founder of Soul Balancing, is a naturally gifted energy healer trained in numerous esoteric forms, including shamanism. Trixie has created a powerful modality that safely and effectively clears your energetic field. A Soul Balancing session can remove interference, heal trauma, and restore your hope. Contact Trixie for a life-changing long-distance session today, www.soulbalancing.world.
Exonation, Donald Mazzella is our special guest. is-incorp.com and www.smallbusinessdigestmag.com. As a member of the media, Donald, how do you see what is happening in Washington these days? You know, the president has been in charge of the administration, for 4 or 5 weeks now, and it seems every day there's something new that is happening. Today he met with Prime Minister Netanyahu from Israel. Yesterday he had the story about General Flynn. Today his nominee for small business withdrew his name from the vetting process. This is starting to remind me of the latter days of the Nixon administration.
Well, you can look at it that way, but if you can also look at it in 4 weeks. It's almost exactly 4 weeks. He's been in office, and in that time, he's redeemed 5 campaign promises.
Right.
And I define you to find any politician that's done that in the last 20 years. Certainly not in the presidential level. It takes time to learn how to govern. You can, as someone has said, no one walks into the presidency prepared for it, and in my view, and again, I look at the glass half full. I think he's done a remarkable job of pulling together a team that certainly is amongst the most qualified in terms of cabinet members we've seen in a long time. You have to go back to the 1920s to find the quality of the cabinet members that he's put in there in terms of their accomplishments. Whether you believe that businessmen can do a better job than politicians, that's up to you.
But wait a minute, isn't the United States actually like any other democratic country? Aren't they just businesses? They're in the business of governing.
Yeah, that's very true. But as some politicians have said, you can't trust business people to run it. But I can't think of a better group.
I agree with you.
I point out the fact that most of the men and women who he's put in here have demonstrated their competence to run big organizations. Whether it's the head of the Small Business Administration, Mr. DeVos, and health, education, and welfare. Well, wherever it is, if you look at them, not as partisan, but in terms of accomplishments, they've all accomplished things in their lives. I always pointed out that the previous administration, not a single person in the President Obama's cabinet had ever run anything prior to government experience. So you're sitting there saying, "Well, who can do a better job?" Well, we're going to find out. This cacophony of negative publicity that we see, I think, is masking an effort by Trump to build a working administration that will try to make the government more efficient and perhaps more accountable to the people that elected him.
You see, the way I look at it, Don, is that the Democrats are really poor losers. And they're just having all these temper tantrums. They're looking for any excuse to cause a discord between the citizens and the administration. Like, when are they going to grow up and start working with the administration to help accomplish what this man is going to be doing?
I I don't think they will. I have very little confidence in them to do that. The Democratic Party is essentially a minority party right now in the Northeast and in the West Coast. Mm-hmm. And it's trying to build a relevance by being obstructionist. And I don't think it's an answer. If you just look at who they're trying to, who are running for as candidates for the lead the Democratic National Committee, mm-hmm. you sit there and say they're not reaching out to the people that elected Trump. And the interesting thing is how quiet the unions have been. Trump handed them a big victory with the pipeline.
Yeah.
And they're suddenly waking up. There was a great journalist, David Broder, who every year, every presidential year, the month before the election, went out and just traveled the country talking to people. And he never called the election wrong by talking to people. And if you talk to people, I don't want to be immodest. I felt that Trump was going to win. I thought he was going to win the popular vote, but have trouble in the electoral college. It turned out to be just the opposite. But if you talk to people before the election, and it's called leaners, they never the media had so radicalized Trump that for them to admit that they were going to vote was not in their best interest. But in the end, they did. And as a colleague of mine pointed out, Trump won 83% of the counties of the United States. And that's a fantastic number. Only Ronald Reagan did as well, but he only had 61% of the counties. So it's very interesting. Trump spoke to the American people much more forcefully than Hillary Clinton did. But now the Democratic Party and the media have simply said he's not legitimate, and they're going to do everything they can to bring him down. It's going to take them about 6 months or a year to finally accept what's going on. In the meantime, we're going to have this divisiveness, which doesn't help anybody.
Tell me, why, in your opinion, were the pollsters so wrong?
Number one, the media so made it difficult for people to admit that they were going to vote for Trump, mm-hmm. that when people called, they simply said neutral or undecided. Number one. Two, the pollsters themselves, as a colleague of mine discovered, they overweighted the polls towards the Democrat respondents. The L.A. Times and Institutional and Investors Daily continually said Trump was within 2 points or leading by 2 points. They were the only two. But if you look at their numbers and look at what they did, they were getting closer to the average voter than the pollsters. I attended a session a week ago mm-hmm. on pollsters. They're not admitting they're wrong, but they are. The interesting thing is they're not showing the exact breakdown of who they polled, which tells me that they polled wrong. And people were not admitting up until the day before the election. People were not admitting who they were going to vote for.
Wow.
And it was interesting in my town, which is heavily Democratic. At the end, Hillary only won by 2 votes in a heavily Democratic town where I live, Palisades Park, New Jersey. And you go through other places, you see the same thing. The national media so wanted her to win that they failed to do their job.
Why would the national media want Hillary to win with her record? That was anything but questionable. Benghazi, the Clinton Foundation, the emails, the server. This lady was shrouded in doubt. So why would any member of an accredited media want her to win?
That's very interesting. But when I stand at a bar, a newsman's bar, news people bar, and listen to them, you would here in New York City and you listen to them, you would think that you're in a different country. It is truly amazing. They live in a different world. I have to read the New York Times every day,
right?
And I do. But reading the New York Times and then reading the Wall Street Journal, you would think you're in two different worlds. And it is truly amazing. I can't answer that question because until somebody writes a book about it and takes a poll of the newsmen, the news people in this world, the elites, the world, it is truly amazing. I sit on a couple of boards and I have to keep my mouth shut. You notice I'm not on New York television or radio. I'm on the hinterlands. I do about 4 or 5 a week, things like this. Mm-hmm. But it's always out there in Des Moines and other places where the Rush Limbaugh is a leader. It's very interesting. The two fastest growing channels in the United States are the Hallmark Channel and the Hallmark Mysteries.
Yeah,
they're good time channel. Boy meets girl, boy loses girl, boy gets girl. That's what it's about. But they're good, solid American values. People say I love you at least 10 times in every program. And it's amazing. I'm a lot older than people. I'm 73, about to be 74.
God bless you.
I've been around a long time, but I still sit here or stand at the bars and go to functions and listen to. If you listen to people, it's amazing here in New York City what they think and how they feel. They I don't know, they had 1 million people at the Women's March, etc. What did they march for? What has he said that will really hurt women?
All right, stand by, my friend. We've got to take our final break. Exonation, Donald Mazzella is our special guest. is-incorp.com and www.smallbusinessdigestmag.com. This is the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell. Donald and I will be back on the other side of this break. Don't go away.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now.
No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
I am Dr. Carl O'Helvey, founder, president of a new cancer foundation focusing on evidence-based physical, mental, and spiritual interventions, including natural cancer cures, prayer, meditation, affirmations, nutrition, and other related holistic cancer prevention and cure modalities. These are used in cancer education, research, and financing care. I ask for your help to continue this important work by donating at www.holisticcancerfoundation.com.
Wouldn't you love to know the secret to everything? I'm Dr. Kimberly McGeorge, and on The Secret to Everything, we will merge the practical with open investigation into all realms of the mysterious. We will talk to cutting-edge alternative health practitioners, those who inspire and motivate you in business and life, and of course, we will share stories of the paranormal, conspiracy, and cryptozoology. You will transform because of the frequency I carry, the frequencies my guests carry. Life may never be the same after you listen to this program, for the secret to everything is for you, the listener, for those who desire more in every area of their lives and believe that it can still be found. Listen and discover thesecrettoeverything.com.
Little children aren't the only ones afraid of the dark. Millions of soldiers return from war zones with PTSD, anger, frustration, fear, and loneliness, much of which surfaces during the darkness of the night. You have the chance to change the lives of these American heroes. Songs and Stories for Soldiers.us provides free MP3 players for these men and women. With a list of 3 million songs in 16 different styles, 100,000 audiobooks, and 30,000 old-time radio programs, every veteran can find something to soothe and comfort them at no cost. All our players contain an 8-hour audio program designed to help veterans fall asleep. With 1,500 plus vets now participating, it's our goal to deliver 10,000 audio players this year. Go to our website at songsandstoriesforsoldiers.us. Help us help a veteran make it through the night.
You're listening to the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
Welcome back, everyone. Donald Mazzella is our special guest, www.smallbusinessdigest.com and www.is-incorp.com. As always, Don, thanks so much for joining us. Always great having you here on the show. But let me ask you two things I wanted to talk to you about tonight. We had the resignation of General Flynn. Now we've got the different congressional leaders calling for hearings into the connection between Donald Trump and Russia. Here we have Russia, who got really ticked off that Flynn was basically released. They fired a cruise missile in contravention to a U.S.-Russian agreement, and there is a surveillance or intelligence ship off the shores of the United States just outside of the 12-mile limit. In your opinion, based on your knowledge and the many years that you've covered the media, do you think that there is a connection between Donald Trump and Russia, or is this just the media trying to hang him out to dry?
Oh, there's no question there's a connection. What that connection is, who knows? And really, What did Winston Churchill say? Russia's an enigma wrapped up in a puzzle, or something like that. But the answer is we have Putin is a master manipulator. Trump is a guy that likes to make a deal, and he would like nothing better than to make some sort of deal with the Russians that lets us deal with what is the number one problem in the world today, which is ISIS.
Yeah.
And I'm on a program on Tuesdays with a guy named IQ Rizzoli, who's an expert on ISIS. And he points out that at some point Russia, China, and the United States have got to get together and squash ISIS. And that's the issue. I heard a discussion involving a former National Security Advisor, Kissinger, and everybody seems to believe that at some point in the next 6 months, we're going to have an ISIS-inspired incident on the United States soil, which is going to get everybody all riled up, whether it's a massive detonation or whatever. Something's going to happen. And I think Trump is simply trying to set up the ducks so that the United States can act in concert with Russia and with other allies and finally squash ISIS. Are we going to put boots on the ground in the Middle East? Absolutely. Are we going to start to see some things happening beyond SEAL attacks? Absolutely. ISIS is the problem. They've been squashed over the last couple of months by some very aggressive covert actions on the part of the United States, and on despite what former President Obama said, he himself had to realize we had to do something to keep them in place. So it's a long answer. I'm sorry, but
it's okay.
The media is playing this up, and again, the real issue is how do you work with a dictator like Putin? How do you get people on your side? Do you use every lever you can, and hope over time you see that your mutual enemy has to be taken care of first. We lost out in Syria. We lost out in Syria because of President Obama refused to live up to his red line in the sand.
That's right. How many times? 3 times?
Yes. So Trump, I think, is simply trying to recover the ground lost. I don't believe Flynn talked to the Russians without at least telling Trump about it. He was a general. He was in charge of the national security. I mean, we lost them there, but I believe this is a tempest in a teapot compared to what we're going to have to do over the next few months and years in terms of ISIS.
My final question to you, my friend, is the Judge Roberts, where was it, in Oregon? The 9th District, the 9th District was the 3-judge panel. Judge Roberts, who initially put a halt to the travel ban executive order. As far as I understand American law, the president was well within his rights to issue that executive order. So how could the court actually do what they did, not once, but twice?
You're absolutely right. I mean, you can scratch your heads on that one. Does that mean every executive order that the president does makes is subject to judicial review? you scratched the head. I think they're going to wait until they get the ninth judge approved, and then they'll try to move it forward.
But is it?
We also had a judge in Virginia who said the travel ban because of religion wasn't right. I mean, we're in uncharted territory.
But am I the only person who, or the only talk show host who actually says, "Hey guys, does everybody forget 9/11? Does everybody forget the Boston Marathon runners and what happened there, who they were? Does everybody forget the videos that we keep seeing of the decapitations? How come we are so willing to forget and say, you know what, it won't happen again, come on in?" And by putting this travel ban on hold, wouldn't it just make sense for our enemy to get their people in while the travel ban is now put aside, that they can actually infiltrate? Like, I don't understand it, Don. What am I missing here?
Neither could a lot of my colleagues. I'm on a program with Dan Perkins, who's been on your program.
He's a great guy. I love Dan.
Yeah. You want to hear him on it. Get him on it. He's good for 2 hours on that one subject.
He's a great guy.
Yes. So you're absolutely right. We can't fan him. But again, see, Trump is smart. Rather than go back at him, etc. Go back, recoup, get your attorney general, get everything in order, and then come back at him. You'll see a new change. A simple way of doing is, every time somebody comes in, just tell them sorry. When you reach JFK, oh, sorry, your papers aren't in order. Go back and then try again. I mean, there are ways of doing it without an executive order. If you ever go to JFK into one of the lines for non-citizens, it's amazing. They get through the barriers quicker than we do. Who are U.S. citizens, because people just wave them on through, which I think is a mistake. So hopefully it'll get resolved. But can I point out one thing? Someone once told me that when you come to Washington, it takes you 2 weeks to find where the bathroom is, and then it takes you 4 months to finally get your feet on the ground, and about a year you finally understand how Washington begins to work. So it's going to take them a little time to learn how to govern. So give them a little time.
Why do you think there is so much difference between what the counselor to the president, Kellyanne Conway, tells the media and what the press secretary, Sean Spicer, tells the media?
I like to say I think she speaks the truth and he has to mouth the line.
Ah.
That's how I look at it. I think it's amazing how when she came on board in campaign, it was amazing the difference during the campaign that she made.
Yeah.
And, his job, I would not want to be press secretary today, because his job is to keep a bunch of lions at bay, while her job is to go out there and kick some behinds. And I think she's doing it.
Hey, Don, I was thinking about Dan Perkins there, but Don Mazzella, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show, Don. It's always a great pleasure talking to you. Please
Thank
do me.
you for having me. I'll get a chance to mouth off a little bit. Thank you.
Hey, listen, you make a lot of sense to me, my friend, and as I told you during the break, we're going to get you on again and again and again and again, because you, my friend, make sense.
Thank you. You remember the Gina Lollobrigida line in the movie? The Rock Hudson answer, be logical. And she says, I don't have to be logical. I'm Italian.
Don Mazzella is my guest this hour, Exo Nation. www.is-incorp.com and smallbusiness digestmag.com. I'll be back on the other side of this commercial break with the news as we continue here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada on the X-Zone Broadcast Network. Don't go away.